The last time Blaine appeared in a section championship game, the Bengals were held to just 29 points by arch rival Centennial. Fast forward to Saturday's semifinal performance against the Cougars again, and things are certainly different this time around. Waiting for the Baby Blues on the other side are the top-seeded Forest Lake Rangers, a senior-laden squad built on stifling defense and an offense that can certainly match what the Bengals have to offer. A state tournament ticket will be punched tonight. The Bengals and the Rangers next on North Metro TV. Welcome into Forest Lake High School. We're here north of the Twin Cities for a big section championship bout, pitting the top seed in the Forest Lake Rangers against the 3 seed here in the 7-4-8 tournament in the Blaine Bengals. Welcome into Forest Lake High School, everybody. Alongside Blythe Whaley, I'm Matt Dean. We've got a trip to the state tournament on the line tonight, Blythe, and 2 teams, as you would imagine when you're talking section championship time, 2 teams that are playing really well down the stretch. The Bengals have won 8 of their last 9 coming in. Forest Lake have chained together 5 wins in a row to reach the section title game. And we're going to start with Blaine, who are back here in a section final for the first time in a couple of years. Their improved three-point shooting has really changed the tides of the season here these last 9 games.
Yeah, of course. You're seeing the Bengals having a three-point party. It really just putting it down. They've been able to improve their three-point percentage to 34% and over that stretch. And it's really something that's quite impressive because 4 different players averaging at least 1 three-point make per game.
In the meantime, for the Forest Lake Rangers, they picked up the win on Saturday by 10 points over Andover. A balanced attack among their starters, at least 3 players with 12 or more points on Saturday.
Yeah, you mentioned it. The starters, they play so much throughout the game. They don't drip into that bench too much. So it's something different comparing and contrasting the Bengals to the Rangers, that the Bengals, they're really going deep into that bench.
You see the results from Saturday. Both those games were played here in this building in Forest Lake. A 10-point win for Andover. The Blaine Bengals, they really had to hang on in their game. At one point, led by 19 in the second half. The Cougars cut it to 62-60 with 7 seconds left. But Amelia Ritchie hitting a key free throw down the stretch, and Blaine, despite not having a made field goal for the final 6+ minutes, hung on to get here to the section final and a chance for Blaine to get to state for the first time in 17 years. Let's talk about a couple of dynamic duos in terms of impact players we're going to see in this game. Blythe, you mentioned how deep the bench goes for the Bengals. Well, one of their senior starters is going to be one of the ones stirring the drink here for Blaine. Just one of those impact, energizing players that makes the offense go, and Marley Jansen.
Yeah, she's been able to score in double figures in both of those playoff performances. And for her, it's really also about that hustle, because you see her getting steals, you see her getting rebounds, and ultimately creating those extra possessions that the Bengals want.
And speaking of that deep bench, we're highlighting a player who's going to be coming off the bench, the leading scorer for the Bengals, this dynamic sophomore, Amelia Ritchie, who was pretty quiet, only had 5 points on Saturday.
Yeah, the sophomore, just a really dynamic scorer. She's able to get downhill really well, and something that I like about her is she's able to take it to them, draw that foul, and head to the free throw line. She leads her team in free throw attempts.
Forest Lake are going to counter with a starting lineup of 5 seniors. Kendall Damon is one of them. Led the Rangers with a 15-point performance in the win Saturday against Andover.
Yeah, she's their second leading scorer. She brings experience, leadership. She's a 3-year varsity player, and she's someone that's critical for the Rangers to have a good night today.
Also, keep an eye out for fellow senior Aubrey Holtman, who is the leading scorer and a Division II commit, going to be playing in the Northern Sun for the Golden Bears of Concordia.
Yeah, this team has a lot of players playing at that next level, and like you said, Holtman being one of them. She's able to help control the offense. She also brings that experience and leadership, being a 4-year varsity player, and she's someone who, to have a good night tonight for the Rangers, is going to continually step up to that occasion.
Blaine looking for their first trip to state in 17 years. The Rangers looking to repeat as champions of this section like they did back in 2021. We got the Bengals and the Forest Lake Rangers coming your way next with a trip to state on the line on North Metro TV. Back inside Forest Lake High School here at the Ranger Gym, Section 7 4A championship game getting underway. We're going to send it down to tonight's public address announcers for the introduction of the starting lineups here tonight. The Blaine Bengals and the Forest Lake Rangers about to tangle here with a trip to the barn on the line next week in Minneapolis.
Fans, thanks for joining us here tonight at the Ranch. And the starters for the Bengals are wearing number 1 is a 5'7" senior guardian captain Marvin Hanson. Wearing number 2 for the Bengals is a 5'8" sophomore guard Alyssa Schlore. Wearing number 10 for the Bengals, 5'8" senior guardian captain Rosie Rakowski. Wearing number 15 for the Bengals, a 5'6" senior center,
I'm just going to stand up.
Wearing number 21, a 5'6" sophomore guard, Katie Alstruck. The Camerons who recent are the assistant coaches, head coach is Alex Wall. They're going to make welcome to the Bengals in their fans. Here we go, Ranger fans. Here are your Rangers. Wearing the 4-year Rangers is a 5'11" senior guard forward and captain, Sabrina. Wearing number 5 for the Rangers, a 5'10" senior guard forward and captain, Kendall. Wearing number 11 for your Rangers, a 5'5" senior guard and captain, Audrey Hoffman. Wearing number 21 for your Rangers, a 5'5" senior guard, Natalie Russell. Joining us for the Rangers starting lineup, wearing number 31, a 5'10" senior guard forward and captain, Henry Giroux. Alex Johnson. Realizing Chris Rupert, Ray Holmquist, and Andrea Richie are your assistants, Victoria Kimber and Tony Rangers.
All right, so you're ready for this one here in Forest Lake. Blaine Bengals taking on the Forest Lake Rangers. First meeting in over 2 years between these two teams. Alex Walls, first-year head coach, trying to lift the Bengals back to the state tournament for the first time in 17 years. And what a year Blaine have had in his first year as the head coach, 20-8, having won 8 of 9 down the stretch. Victoria Kimber in her 3rd year of the Rangers program. The Rangers 22-6 this year, and Kimber named the Section 7 4A Coach of the Year. It's kind of fun, Blythe, when we don't have two teams that are necessarily very familiar with each other. Last time these two teams met up was over 2 years ago in the section quarterfinals. All seniors in the starting lineup for Forest Lake, including Damon Pent and Holtman, all averaging double figures in scoring. 2 sophomores and 3 seniors in the lineup for Blaine. And they will feed it around the wheel to Rosie Rikucki, one of those 3 seniors in the lineup for Blaine, to get the scoring started here for the Baby Blues. Quickly up the floor, and Natalie Krutzig with the response here for the Rangers.
Yeah, that's exactly what Forest Lake wanted to. Yes, Blaine, they can allow them to score, but how do they answer back? And they did so right away.
Hit it up top here with Marley Jansen, second leading scorer, over 11 a game for the Bengals. She slashes her way to the tin, misses off the glass. Natty Berry with the rebound, went up and drew the contact. They'll say she threw it off of one of the Forest Lake players. This will stay for an inbound play. From my eyes up here, this should have been a foul, and Berry at the line shooting too, but already we're seeing the leading rebounder for Blaine make an impact. She pulls down 8 a game. Here's Berry back to the basket, turns and lays it up, gets her own miss, and loose on the floor, able to shuttle it along to a teammate. Rosie Rikucki can't pop off from 3. A second offensive rebound here for the Bengals, and putting it up with the righty flip is Jansen. Can't finish. Oh, nearly a steal there for Berry. But this will go Forest Lake's way here in a quick exchange of possessions.
Yeah, you saw Jansen as well as Berry getting those offensive boards to help them have another chance at it. As you see Berry right now looking to rip it out. But what I said in the open, Jansen is one of those players that she's getting in there helping them get those second chance opportunities, and she did so right out of the gates.
Berry, keep in mind, is 5'7", averages 8 rebounds a game. She is tough down there in the block and plays above her size. Here's a little mid-range jumper. Doesn't rattle home for Krutzig. She's taken the first 2 shots for Forest Lake. Both have been one and done. This one deflected out of bounds off the fingertips of Haley DeRue. It'll stay with the Bengals. Berry already with a couple of early rebounds. She's talked about, I think in a post-game interview with you, Blythe, she's got, what, 2 older brothers that she said scrapping around with them in the driveway is what she says anyway. Made her such a tough rebounder despite her kind of middle of the road height, I'd say, by basketball standards, certainly here in Minnesota.
Yeah, whenever I hear players playing with their brothers in the backyard, I'm always thinking, maybe I should have had a couple brothers. That could have helped. But no, I obviously enjoyed having my sister, and she helped too.
A little backdoor cut. Rikucki shot block, puts up the second and lays it through. Rosie Rikucki has the first 4 points here for Blaine. Averages nearly 7 a game, the 5'8" senior guard.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about those seniors here on the Bengals squad. Early, you're seeing them fight for that chance in state.
Corner triple splash for Aubrey Holtman, the senior guard. She's the leading scorer with over 14 per game. Knocks down the first 3-pointer of the day. Schloman off the wheel, lost the handles. Berry again, the first to scoop it up off the floor, able to touch it along to Rikucki. Rikucki driving, takes it through. Rosie Rikucki going off here for Blaine with the first 6 of the night.
Yeah, she's averaging under 7 points per game, but she's already getting after it early.
They're going to catch one of the Bengals for a reaching foul in there on Damon. Here's a look at that last 3-point make. It's closer from the corner. Rangers take advantage there with Holtman.
Yeah, that's something they know, that the Bengals are bringing it from the 3-point line. So knowing they have the confidence, they already put one down, and that they're going to be able to just build on that momentum.
Rikucki picked up the personal foul, her first. Handling the rock is Aubrey Holtman. She's one of a handful of college commits on this roster. There are 2 D3 commits. Number 4, Pent Haley DeRue. Number 31 going to Hamlin, staying close to home and playing in the MIAC. There's a hoop in the arm. There's Haley DeRue, one of the future Pipers, going to the line with a chance at a 3-point play. Picking up the foul, defending her is Bree Cummings.
Yeah, and I always think in postseason, it really comes down to going hard to the hoop, figuring out what the referees are going to call, and she's able to draw the foul and put it down.
And by the way, in that last stoppage, we already saw our first patented Coach Wall's line change. You got 5 new players on the floor. And as the season's gone along, they've still been playing 10 players every game, the Bengals, but they've started to settle into 2 distinct units that are getting more comfortable playing with each other. This is the second unit on right now, and a slash to the rim there, a foul. That's a charge drawn by Haley DeRue. Amelia Ritchie slashing her way to the basket. Ritchie's still standing in the foul line, expecting her to get a couple of foul shots there. They're not going to come.
And that's almost exactly what I said on the other side. In the playoffs, you want to be able to take it to them. You want to drive hard. But that's sometimes where, again, the awareness, what are the referees calling? Of course, she goes a little bit too hard. She gets called for the offensive. But now they're aware, hey, the ref's ready to call that.
It's Ritchie, Engelhop, Beckman, Earhart, and Cummings on the floor right now. The other 5, an air ball 3-point attempt by Holtman. And it's another one-and-done possession here for Forest Lake, 7-6. Rangers lead it here early. We played just over 3 minutes here in the Ranger gym. Engelhop passes up 3 here in the corner. A little dribble drive inside as she's shadowed by Pent. They rotate it around, cutting in, tough finish off the window. Ellie Beckman with her first 2 of the day. The senior forward averages 2 off the bench for Coach Walls this year.
Yeah, such an impressive move, driving through the lane, just not hesitating at all, and those are the ones that are going to go down in rhythm.
5 players preparing to re-enter the game here for the Bengals, and this is going to be kind of the chess match we're going to be watching. Reaching in to force a steal there for a nice play was Alexis Earhart. It leads to a transition 3. Ellie Beckman knocks it through for the Bengals.
And of course, you see the timeout happen. I mean, this is exactly the type of basketball that Bengals want to be playing. They got the defensive stop, they go the other way, and scoring within those first 5 seconds of that shot clock. That's what Coach Walls preaches. Yeah,
there was the bucket around the 10, and then the kick out to Ellie Beckman, and that was all created, remember, by the Alexis Earhart steal, rather, back at the other end. And you talked about it, Blight. Bengals want this to turn into a track meet, get it moving up and down the floor. We've already seen 1 line change. Bengals are going to come out of this timeout with 5 fresh players. Forest Lake, they really only got 6 steady rotation players. And Coach Walls talked about it ahead of this matchup. They really want to try to see if they can force the Rangers to go deeper into their bench, bring in a few inexperienced players, and just try to wear this team down. The Bengals maybe don't have the star power, but they've got the depth advantage they feel here in the top seed Forest Lake.
And you're seeing them look to do that with this full court press. The Bengals known for it. They're putting it on and going to keep trying to force these turnovers like this.
Yeah, nice deflection there by Natty Berry. We've already talked about her toughness in terms of rebounding, and she's one of the team leaders in this category as well, too, getting out and creating energy with some deflections on defense. The 5 starters back on the floor. Nice little inbound play to find Savannah Pent. The other future Hamlin Piper rolls it through for 2. And it's an 11-9 ball game favoring the Bengals. So the turnaround Jay. Rosie Rikucki continues to build on a nice evening here in the section final. 2 points shy of double figures. Rikucki has got 5 games total this year, reaching 10 or more. She's got 8 here inside the opening 5 minutes. Holtman passes up the 3, cut it inside to Pent, deflected away here by the Bengals. Forest Lake fans wanted a foul. Referees say play on. Here's Schloman, mishandled it, nearly threw it away in the Forest Lake bench, but right back in the arms of the Bengals. Jansen off the elbow, flippers it along here to Rikucki. Rikucki recycles it up top. Caden Allstruck stripped of it by Natalie Krutzig with the steal. Second turnover here for Blaine in the early proceedings. Floater by Holtman, no good. Offensive rebound, and Krutzig able to get the second chance. That's rather Haley DeRue with her second basket of the day.
Haley DeRue, another senior for the Rangers, helping them with that putback.
Crashing into the lane, and they're going to say a foul on the floor before the shot. That's going to go against Forest Lake. No foul shots coming up, but simply an inbound here for the Bengals. I think the feet were still moving there for Daru, and that's the right call as she picks up her first. Couldn't quite get set there to try to draw the charge. They inbound to Schloman, do the Baby Blues. Barry in the high post. Out to Jansen. Jansen, floater. It drops. Marley Jansen on the score sheet for the first time. Second leading scorer, averages 11. Thrown away here by Forest Lake, their 5th turnover here in these opening 6 or so minutes.
Now, and what do we say about the track meet favoring Blaine? We're seeing it go back and forth. They're getting the steal on the defensive end and scoring here in these first few seconds of those last few possessions. Tie
up, Jansen lost an edge. And a jump ball here is going to stay with the Bengals. And now the Rangers have the possession arrow. And we're going to see another line change come on. The second unit of Ritchie, Engelhop, Beckman, Earhart, and Cummings step back on the floor to use another hockey term for their second shift of the night already. And they're going to keep coming at you in waves like this. Full court press the whole game. Up ahead to Damon. Pass off and hits.
That's what Forest Lake needs to continue to do. Find those open shots, have confidence to put them up, and know that, hey, we're still in this game if they're continuing to hit like that.
Engelhop denied by Savannah Pent, and a loose ball still out there. It's going to go to Forest Lake. They're going to get Engelhop, who missed this shot, also for the foul in this sequence just a bit after here. That was a 50-50 ball. Engelhop ends up picking up a personal foul. That is the 4th charged against Blaine. That tipped off one of the Bengals with Ellie Beckman getting up to deflect it out of play. It'll stay down here to our right in the Forest Lake end. 11 minutes left to play here first half. 15-14, Blaine leads it. They've been in front after the Rangers briefly held a 7-6 advantage. Another steal here for the Bengals. They get it up ahead to Amelia Ritchie, leading scorer for Blaine. Slashes and finishes. Amelia Ritchie had just 5 points in a 1 of 7 showing in terms of shooting on Saturday against Centennial. She makes an early impact here with her first bucket. Off the corner 3, Ellie Phil battles her way to the basket for 2. Engelhop passed up the 3, took it inside, draws the foul. She'll shoot 2, running into Krutzig there. I believe is going to be the one picking up the foul here for Forest Lake. That wasn't Krutzig, it was Daru, 31. It's going to pick up her second. Engelhop, about a 60% foul shooter on the year. Talented sophomore. She's got a good shooting stroke. And another 3-point threat on a team full of them here for the Blaine Bengals. Of the 10 rotation players that Blaine have, 6 of them have at least 20 3-point makes this year. Engelhop has 15. So she is approaching that mark. I mean, it is truly a 10-woman rotation of players that can all hurt you in different ways. Phil down low to Zarate. And the Rangers showing us they have a bench too. It's maybe not as deep. That was Phil connecting with Ilea Zarate, who are 2 of the main players that will come off the bench here for Forest Lake tonight. Up top, little 3 off the left of the wheel there. No good from Ellie Beckman.
Now, what I've liked a lot about these last few offensive possessions for the Rangers is they've been able to work it around, but also make those quick decisions and get those shots off early. And they've kept themselves in this game just down by 1 point. They're trading baskets and really making it difficult down the stretch.
Engelhop just picked up her second. She's going to be one of 3 sitting here for the Bengals. So now you see a little bit of a shuffle of the deck here by the Bengals and Coach Walls. You've got some of the first unit and some of the second unit playing together now here. Ritchie, Earhart, Barry, Rikucki, and Marley Jansen, the 5 of the 4 here for the Bengals. And forcing a tie-up, good hustle there by Alexis Earhart. It's going to stay, or rather go to the Bengals. who have the possession arrow here, and that's the 7th turnover in the book here in the first half for Forest Lake. Jansen walks it up here for Blaine. Picked up her dribble, got to go somewhere with it, and finds Earhart. Two teams that did not meet in the regular season. They last tangled in a section quarterfinal 2 years ago. Up top, here's Ritchie from 3. She was blocked, follows her own miss. Ritchie will try again. They're going to say a foul on the floor before the shot. And another inbound play here for the Bengals. I like the officiating, very demonstrative to let us know what the call is, as they are going to get to number 5, Kendall Damon, in the book with her first foul there for the Rangers.
And a lot of times you see the shooter, they know exactly where that ball is going if it's off, and you see her following it up to try to keep that possession alive.
Quick trigger here in the inbound, touched around to Schloman. Now Jansen off the right wing. Schloman up top, calls for the screen from Alstrup, and rifles it along here to Rosie Rikucki. Rikucki's got the 8 points to lead all scorers. Dribble drive inside, touch free there by Phil. Rikucki dive into the floor, and the shot clock ran out. They're going to call it a shot clock violation. That turns it over for the Bengals. No foul, that ball was still loose, but the shot clock wound down for Blaine. That is the Baby Blues' 3rd turnover here tonight.
Yeah, those are some of the ones you want back. Of course, it seems so early in this matchup that it may not matter, but ultimately those ones that you could have changed.
Damon with a good backdoor cut pass to Zarate. She misses, but Savannah Pent cleans it up. The senior forward, averaging 10.5 a game, has 4. Great crowd on hand, visiting side and the home side here at Forest Lake. Rikucki can't finish, high off the window. Diving out, Schloman forces the tie-up. Rangers recover, tipped out of bounds, last by Rikucki. You see the hustle from Blaine. They're keeping the fresh legs out there, and Blaine are making an impact. They nearly forced another turnover here. They're letting them play tonight here in the section final.
Yeah, as a former player, I mean, I would almost appreciate that sometimes. You obviously don't want to have too many whistles, but at least if they keep it consistent, that doesn't matter.
Ooh, how about the Euro step by Ilea Zarate? Everything but the finish the first time. Gets the 2nd to go. Zarate with 4 off the bench. Those are big contributions for Blaine. That is deflected off of Jazzy Mata. They say last, and this will stay on the Blaine end of the floor. Jazzy Mata, an 8th grader there with the deflection. 5'3" guard. We'll see a timeout on the floor here, I think, coming from the Forest Lake side, and Victoria Kimber. 7:44 here to play in the first half. 22-19, the home side, Forest Lake leads it, but I think a lot of this kind of, you mentioned it, Blake, going the way that the Bengals want it to. The turnover battle they're winning, 7-3. And Blaine have attempted a lot more shots here tonight because of those turnovers they created. Yeah,
those are 2 of the keys from Coach Walls, who told his team that they need to obviously control the rebounding battle, but also the turnover battle. But also, I think what's interesting, too, within this game is both these teams still trying to find what that rhythm looks like. You're seeing the Bengals continue to play fast and fearless, which is part of their team identity. But as well as the Rangers finding a way to get this ball in, finding a way to still play Rangers basketball, despite maybe it being a little bit more sped up by the Bengals.
We'll tally up some of the shooting numbers of the half, but kind of first brush, 17 shots for Blaine, 15 for Forest Lake so far. Blaine will throw it back into the backcourt. It'll be raced down by Rikucki. Plenty of time left to work with here in the shot clock as Schloman dances into the lane. Knocked away by Pent. Barry in a tie-up here with Pent to the floor. Jump ball will go to Forest Lake, and that's the 4th Blaine turnover. It has not been a lead of more than 4 points either way here in this first half so far. High post pass, gets through to Pent. Knocked down low here to Zarate. Steps over the baseline. And Forest Lake hands it right back as quickly as they gain the possession.
And on almost every single trip up the court, you're seeing both teams, they're getting their hands in there on defense. They're making it quite difficult, maybe playing a lot harder than you've seen in some of these other games with that ability to really strip the basketball and contest.
That pinballs out off a couple of the Rangers and out. Yeah, this has not been the prettiest basketball we've seen all year, but I'll tell you what, yeah, I agree. It's got the intensity of a section final and the amount of deflections we're seeing. I mean, the passes need to be crisper, but these teams are working really hard defensively to kind of create that mayhem. Ritchie off the line there on the lay-in shot. Rangers quickly up the 4. Zarate couldn't finish around the 10. Here comes Jansen with a rock for the Blaine Bengals. Along here to Schloman. And on the baseline, throws away. It's Ritchie, rather. And she stepped out of bounds here for another Blaine turnover.
And I think it comes down to awareness for both sides, both teams just needing to take note of, again, what the refs are calling. Hey, are they going to let them be able to get their hands in there and they're not going to pick up that foul? Then you got to do it because your opponent's going to do it right back to you.
That was a silky crossover by Holtman a few moments ago to break the pressure for Blaine. Got it down low to Zarate. She's been impactful off the bench here tonight. The sophomore draws the foul, which will go against Alexis Earhart. Here's that crossover I'm talking about from Holtman. Division II commit. You can watch her in town over at the Gengelhoff Center next year when she's playing for Concordia St. Paul.
Yeah, sometimes the move, it doesn't have to be anything crazy, but you go to the basics, you do it really with authority, and it does look like that silky smooth crossover.
Zarate's got 6 off the bench, the sophomore, after making those 2 free throws here for the Rangers. Turned around by Rikucki off the window, and she's the first to double figures here tonight. 24-21 is the Ranger lead. Forest Lake with another giveaway down the baseline. Here comes Jansen with a head of steam. Tries to slip a pocket pass through to Schloman, and once again, it will take a carom off of a fingertip of one of the Rangers. Nothing clean when you're trying to get the basketball down low here tonight, given up by either side as Bree Cummings checks in for Schloman. Junior is the inbounder here for Blaine that just came in. Earhart up top, guarded by Damon. Gets it around the way here to Ritchie. There's that explosiveness by Amelia Ritchie. Smooth step through to the basket there. She's got 4.
Yeah, she's proven why she's the leading scorer for the Bengals. Just her ability to find that shot and put it down in these big moments.
Zarate, tough finish, doesn't get it to roll. And a rebound pulled down by Rikucki. Here's Ritchie with it, the aforementioned leading scorer. Had just 5 on Saturday in the semifinal win for the Bengals. Jansen, the corner triggered, no. One and done here for the Bengals. Holtman leading the charge. Throws it wildly off the top of the glass. Rebound pulled down by Ritchie. Ritchie barrels into Damon. And that's going to be a foul on the book here on Forest Lake. They'll get Kendall Damon for her second. Nobody in any significant foul trouble yet. Damon and Daru each have 2 apiece, the only 4 fouls for Forest Lake. Nobody on Blaine has picked up multiple fouls yet, save for Engelhop, you see there, has got the pair. Engelhop right under the basket, had a clean look. She's fouled, and Engelhop will go to the line. Fouling her underneath was number 10, Ilea Zarate. Nobody picked her up. And Zarate late to the party, fouled Engelhop. You see there, Engelhop misses her second free throw. She's 1 for 3 today.
And especially in postseason, we all know how important these free throws are, and certainly wanting to put these down when you can.
It's been an area for improvement for the Bengals this year. They're south of 60% free throw shooting as a team. Another deflection here by the Bengals. And it leads to a side out inbound here for Forest Lake. Crashing away the basket. Tough finish. Jazzy Mata lays it off the window for 2.
Yeah, he touched on her being an 8th grader and just one of 2 8th graders on the squad.
Earhart, yes. Alexis Earhart airs out from 3. That's her 36th made three-pointer this season. Her and Bree Cummings lead the Bengals, a prolific three-point shooting team who are averaging nearly 10 makes a game over this 9-game stretch where they've won 8. There's an answer. Ilea Zarate, the sophomore, pops off for a trifecta. Engelhop on the other end. Drew her out with the three-point fake. Rolls it in for an easy deuce. 29-28, Forest Lake leads by 1. 4 minutes to play here in the first half. Interior feed, jostled around, and they will say knocked glass off of Haley Daru. Another empty possession where the Rangers don't even get a shot off. They've turned it over 10 times here in the first half, but a few key three-pointers like this one from Zarate keeping them in the game despite those empty possessions.
Yeah, she's just another one of those 8th graders on their squad, just bringing them a huge spark off the bench. Coach said that these 8th graders have been an important part of their team throughout the year.
Only 2 made threes for the Bengals. Lefty flip by Schloman. Doesn't have the touch. Nadi Berry pulls in the rebound. Looked like she wrestled it away from one of the Rangers, but they'll say a tie-up. And this will stay with the Bengals, but they lose the possession arrow. And you see how fired up Berry is about that. That's my kind of rebound right there. That should count for 2.
Wouldn't it be nice if you could have that happen?
I mean, Berry is busting it down there for Blaine. Always does. Schloman blocked, deflects along to Ellie Engelhop with the fortuitous bounce. Finds a cookie for 2. 30-29. Bengals in front now by 1. They create a steal here in the other end. Leading the charge is Alstrup. Gets it out here to Cummings. Off the left wing, dips it along on a pass to Engelhop. Engelhop into the paint. Kicks out, open 3. Can't can it, too strong. Out of the hand of Schloman. And she'll get caught reaching in for a foul. Trying to chase down the rebound. Schloman, the sophomore, picks up her first. So Engelhop now will sit. Some more changes here from the Bengals. And this is going to push Forest Lake into the bonus. So an opportunity to shoot 1-and-1 here for Aubrey Holtman.
Matt, it's important to note how close this game really has been throughout the entirety. It's just a 1-point game right now, and it's really been going back and forth. The Rangers even had the lead for a little bit too.
That one hits from downtown. Bree Cummings with her first triple of the day.
That's something Coach Walls says to his team. They all have the green light to shoot from 3. That's why you're seeing so many players be able to knock it down for Blaine.
Open look for Zarate. Couldn't get it to roll. Now another tie-up. We're going to break a state record here for jump balls tonight. It feels like the pace we're at here early. 2:37 to go here in the first half. Zarate will handle the inbound here for Forest Lake. Throws it out to Holtman. Quick trigger 3. She had the Blaine green light on that one. Maddie Berry pulls down her 4th rebound of the day. Up ahead to Schloman. Tries to dip it back out of the corner. Blaine with a steal. And Berry, the finish and the foul.
I thought you were going to say Berry's it, because she did. She definitely went hard to the hoop. Got the contact and going to go to the line for the 3-point play.
She would gladly sacrifice the other palm bun for 2 more points here. It unfurls as she goes to the line with a chance at a 3-point play. And Berry will splash it through. Not always an impactful score. She's going to get a chance to fix the hairdo over on the bench. Averages 5 per game, but I mean, her impact is almost uncountable with what she does in terms of the toughness and defense.
Yeah, Coach talking about how she's even stepped up even more in these last couple games in playoffs. Just had about double digits in both of them, and certainly being a help throughout this playoff stretch.
36-29, a 7-point lead. It's the largest for either team here in the first half. 2 minutes to go, and that one thrown away. Blaine gets it back. Well, Forest Lake are crumbling right now under the Blaine pressure. That's their 13th turnover. When you talk with Coach Walls, he'll say, look, we know we're going to turn the ball over as long as the other team does it more. We're fine with it. 13-6 right now, the turnover disparity favoring the blue and white, and that will be a turnover and an offensive foul on Marley Jansen. Just lowered the shoulder a little bit too much there into the chest of the Ranger defender.
I think sometimes that takes the pressure off of players, of course. If your goal is just to have less turnovers than the opponent, it isn't to have no turnovers. Of course, you're seeing that one there. Nobody wants to have a turnover, but at least when your coach is allowing you to have some gimmies to get you through the game.
Aubrey Holtman walks it up the floor. Wild pass. She throws it away. Up in transition, turning and throwing it up off the bottom of the rim there was Rikucki. It's a one and done for Blaine, but that's the type of looks the Bengals are looking for. They want to get a shot off inside the first 6 or 7 seconds of a possession. And if it's off a steal right around the rim like that, that is an ideal Blaine bucket. They want more looks like that. Rikucki couldn't finish off the chance. Here's Holtman with it on the other end. Holtman the bounce pass inside to Pent. Pent under the basket, reversal. She's blocked by Alexis Earhart, but it falls to number 11, Holtman, who gets it to roll through. Schloman with a kick out. Corner three, yes. And Bree Cummings connects on her second trifecta of the evening here in Forest Lake.
Justin Jr. has another year with the Bengals, but her impact is known just about 10 points per game this season.
Rikucki nearly had a steal there. Another one here for the Bengals. They will force, you guessed it, a tie-up. Tangle on the floor. The possession arrow favors the Bengals. That is the 15th Forest Lake turnover here in the first half. That's 2 players just crashing. Jansen, Earhart, both reading that pass and getting in there and forcing it loose. And there's a physical game happening down there on the floor. They're letting them play.
Yeah, I feel like that's a textbook sandwich, getting the ball back that way.
Here's Amelia Ritchie with a rock now for Blaine. Inside 30 seconds to go here in the first half. Cycled along here to Natty Berry. Around now to Rikucki, back to Berry. That's a logo 3, not really her game. She'll take it inside instead, and Ritchie able to lay it in for a deuce. 10-point lead for the Bengals. Largest edge they've had. 5 seconds, chance for one last shot here for the Rangers. Ellie Thill inside the Pent, runs out of time, and Blaine will take a 10-point lead into the halftime locker room here in Forest Lake. An electric atmosphere here in the 7-4A final. Blaine trying to get back to state for the first time in 17 years. Out to a good start here in the home of the Rangers. We're back to recap the action before the second half gets underway next on North Metro TV.
Come to Ham Lake and see how good life can be. Conveniently located only 20 miles north of the Twin Cities on Highway 65, yet Ham Lake has kept its rural charm. Residents of Ham Lake enjoy 1-acre minimum lots, giving you space to live with abundant natural green spaces and recreational activities like boating, fishing, golf, disc golf, camping and playgrounds, and tons of seasonal fun all year round. Ham Lake is home to one of the top school districts with consistent high scores in standardized testing and community ratings. Ham Lake is a business-friendly city and willing to work with businesses and developers of all sizes. Whether you are just starting out or looking to grow, Ham Lake has the business opportunities you've been waiting for. Life in Ham Lake moves a little slower, and that's the way we like it. Ham Lake offers space to live, to grow, and space to relax. Come visit Ham Lake and see for yourself what you are missing. Ham Lake is convenient country living.
Back here for the start of the second half in Forest Lake. Quick trigger three by the Rangers, and it does not teardrop through for Kendall Damon. Blaine, an impressive finish to that first half. Forest Lake led 29-28 before the Bengals closed in a 13-2 run. Opened up the largest lead of the day at 10 just before the horn sounded for the end of the first half. Both teams shot about 50% in the first half. Rosie Rikaki led all scorers with 10, just had the miss there. Blaine were 4 of 9 from 3. Forest Lake 3 of 5 to counter that. Allie Holtman, who had 5 in the first half, gets her first pair here in stanza number 2.
And that's exactly how they want to come out in the second half. Of course, going down by 10 at halftime, they're trying to make a comeback.
Maddie Berry didn't have the soft touch around the rim, but it deflects back along. 3-point attempt offline from Kaden Alstrup. She is Blaine's top 3-point shooter. 36% from beyond the arc in the season with a sophomore who did not attempt a shot in the first half. Misses her first on an attempt from distance.
And normally one of those things you reset at halftime and you think about it, hey, maybe I didn't put a shot up. So how can you change that in the second? And for her, she's already been doing so.
Here's Savannah Pence rolling her way to the basket. Got around Schloman, but everything but the finish there. And Schloman rips down the rebound here for Blaine. Jansen with a shuttle pass inside. And is able to link up here with Rikaki. Oh, little baseline cut. Berry blocked by Savannah Pence. Back here for the start of the second half in Forest Lake. Quick trigger three by the Rangers, and it does not teardrop through for Kendall Damon. Blaine, an impressive finish to that first half. Forest Lake led 29-28 before the Bengals closed in a 13-2 run. Opened up the largest lead of the day at 10 just before the horn sounded for the end of the first half. Both teams shot about 50% in the first half. Rosie Rikaki led all scorers with 10, just had the miss there. Blaine were 4 of 9 from 3. Forest Lake 3 of 5 to counter that. Allie Holtman, who had 5 in the first half, gets her first pair here in stanza number 2.
And that's exactly how they want to come out in the second half. Of course, going down by 10 at halftime, they're trying to make a comeback.
Maddie Berry didn't have the soft touch around the rim, but it deflects back along. 3-point attempt offline from Kaden Alstrup. She is Blaine's top 3-point shooter. 36% from beyond the arc in the season with a sophomore who did not attempt a shot in the first half. Misses her first on an attempt from distance.
And normally one of those things you reset at halftime and you think about it, hey, maybe I didn't put a shot up. So how can you change that in the second? And for her, she's already been doing so.
Here's Savannah Pence rolling her way to the basket. Got around Schloman, but everything but the finish there. And Schloman rips down the rebound here for Blaine. Jansen with a shuttle pass inside. And is able to link up here with Rikaki. Oh, little baseline cut. Berry blocked by Savannah Pence. And there's the size mismatch. Pence, a 5'11" senior forward. She's a tough matchup in the post for Blaine, who have a tough, great rebounder in Berry, but doesn't have your prototypical length like we talked about of a true post. Kendall Damon draws the contact here and will head to the foul line for Forest Lake. I mean, that last possession was kind of textbook for me on why Blaine does not want this to turn into a half-court game, because Pent, especially number 4, can kind of get you one-on-one, get her back to the basket and score like that, and that's just a tough matchup that Blaine don't have a lot of obvious answers for. Kendall Damon at the line knocks through her first here.
And Kendall Damon, coach, has said that she's one of those players that helps push their team compete at the highest level every day. And she's, of course, we talked about it, continuing on and playing basketball at the next level, South Dakota School of Mines.
A future hard rocker at the South Dakota School of Mines. She made both of her free throws there. Amelia Ritchie streaking the basket, and that's just pure speed. She beat her defender. She sensed the contact coming and kind of just scooped up that shot, knowing it was going to earn her a trip to the foul line. Those are good instincts from a scorer here, and this is an exciting sophomore that's just going to get even better and better throughout her Blaine career.
Yeah, you talk about that. I mean, coach talks about her, saying she's incredible. Of course, the bright future with the Bengals, and even far beyond, he's mentioned. But her on-ball defense is suffocating, but of course her speed and helping the team get up in the court, and we just saw, really helps them out a bit.
Leads Blaine with over 120 free throw attempts this year. She's better than a 64% foul shooter. Knocked them both through there. 8 early points for Amelia Ritchie. There's that on-ball defense. She pressures the shifty Holtman. Dribble drive inside. Doesn't roll through for Drew, but an offensive rebound, and Holtman keeps the possession alive. High post here, it's Pent. Pent tries to throw it down, though that was basically kicked away by Ellie Beckman. Forces a steal here for the Bengals. Almost was kicked, apparently not. Engelhop throws it away wildly, back to the hands of Pent. Easy deuce for Aubrey Holtman with the transition finish.
She's one of those court commanders, being the point guard, but of course she runs the floor like we just saw, getting that ball up quick and able to put it through.
Alexis Earhart tries to bail down low. Engelhop, baseline cutter. Beckman, they'll say, was fouled. It looked clean from up here. Good pass by Engelhop. Oh, I think she did get a little bit of the hand there, Daru. So Beckman rightfully at the line, and that's crucially the 3rd foul for one of the senior starters, Haley Daru. You know, I said, looked clean from up here. Down there, different story.
Of course, we always say the first time look is always the hardest. Normally, we get that replay and it always helps sort it out.
It just lets you know how good that these state high school league officials are typically, and how tough their job is every time. Ellie Beckman there, 1 of 2 at the foul line. Rangers break the pressure, get it up to Damon. Quick trigger 3, little offline. Oh, Engelhop crashing hard for the rebound. She's still down on the floor. I think she landed a bit awkwardly onto her elbow. And a tie-up here is going to lead to a Bengal possession. Look how hard Engelhop comes flying in here. And I think she might have landed a little bit awkwardly on her knee, maybe more than anything. She came down hard on the floor there, the sophomore. She's still spry and not shy about getting into another jump ball. This one's going to win a ball back here for the Rangers, and a turnover for Blaine. Engelhop, the first one of the floor after she got roughed up in that last sequence. This is a big girl basketball game here in the section final. If you're going to the floor, you better be ready to scrap. Both teams are doing it here tonight. Aubrey Holtman, guarded by Ritchie. Holtman's got the silky handle, gets it inside to Pent. Pent threw it away wildly. Turnover here for Forest Lake. Pushing is Ritchie. Ritchie fouled. She'll go to the line. Well, when Blaine have had to kind of settle in and defend in the half court, I think they've done a pretty good job, and they're doing a really nice job at at preventing those easy interior passes to number 4. Savannah Pent is kind of a key cog. You try to get that inside-outside game going and start it with Pent and Blaine have not made it easy for the maroon and gold to kind of feed it inside to their target woman down low. Ritchie knocking through the first here at the line as Blaine will make wholesale line changes behind her.
Yeah, and it's like I said in the open, I mean, she's leading the team in free throw attempts, and you've seen her go to the line time and time again, especially here in the second half.
Ritchie goes 1 for 2. How about that effort from Natty Berry? Leads to an open look. Schloman can't finish. Another turnover for the Rangers, and Blaine can't capitalize. 45-37, Rangers cough it up again, and here come the Bengals.
And that's exactly what you do defensively. You collapse, you make it incredibly difficult to get that entry pass.
Oh, how about that hard screen from Berry, and then kicks it out here in the last pass. Everything she does is with toughness. Number 15 out there in blue and white. Schloman, handoff exchange here to Ritchie. Ritchie throws it up wildly. Berry just out of her reach for another rebound. Now the Rangers try to settle it down. Still anyone's ball game here. Just 8 points separating Forest Lake and Blaine here in the section final, and that'll go a long way. Natalie Krutzig pops off from the right wing. Her first 3. Forest Lake cut it down to a 5-point game. Berry with the response on the other end.
Both of those last plays being from seniors. Again, you're coming down to crunch time in the sense of it's the second half, and of course, it's a do-or-die matchup. You're really trying to make the most of these possessions.
Holtman, that future Concordia Golden Bear, with a smooth handle off the right wing. Gets it along to DeRue. Kicks out to Krutzig, interior feed. Couple of shoulder rolls. DeRue can't get the lefty finish to go clean in off the window. That'll deflect out and be Blaine basketball. Look, they are being consistent tonight. They're letting them play. There's a lot of contact here down low. Last fingertip, I think that's the right call off of Forest Lake. It was really close.
Yeah, and Coach talks about, of course, being in attack mode, both sides of the ball, not just offensively, but also defensively for Blaine, and you've seen it with those traps.
There's a steal by Zarate. Rangers up the floor. Hard foul on Kendall Damon. But it will send her for a visit to the charity stripe here.
Single spot called by number 1, Marley Jansen, her second. To the line of your Rangers, number 5, Kendall Damon.
Marley Jansen picking up her second foul in that sequence. Kendall Damon at the line. That is the third, make it the second foul on Blaine here tonight. In the second half. 3 for the Rangers. And neither team's really in real danger of getting into the bonus as of yet. Damon up with her second. Knocks that one through. 6 points for Kendall Damon. The senior averaging about 13 a game this year. 3 starters average double figures for Forest Lake. That's going to be a turnover here by Blaine and an off-ball foul. It'll go against Alstrup, who's, the pulling guard kind of got tied up coming off that screen, it looked like. A little ticky-tacky, especially considering how kind of loose it's been in terms of letting the teams play tonight. Wild shot by Holtman, who just tried to barrel away to the rim. And guess what? We've got another jump ball down there. That one will go the way of the Bengals. Rukaki to inbound, finds the hands of Caden Alstrup, wearing the bright pink shoes. She's the red-hot three-point shooter, looking for her first basket tonight. Turning, and that's going to be a reaching foul against Forest Lake. Schloman, I mean, right as she was trying to turn, already somebody right on her hip. And I think it's going to go against Krutzig, number 21. Yeah, it's going to be her second.
You seen both teams do it very well tonight, collapsing, closing in that space.
Nice finish. Alexis Earhart dribbles her way in range and is able to splash that one home here for a pair. Giroux down low with the kick out. Worked around to Krutzig. Back here to Holtman. Around the wheel to Zarate, the 8th grader who comes off the bench for Forest Lake. Holtman around to Damon. This is Giroux driving on Earhart. Kicks out. Holtman for 3. Airballs it too strong off the window. Now Holtman right now, it feels like, is kind of trying to force it a little bit and take the game into her hands. Blaine still lead by 8 here. Holtman with a steal. She can make it happen here. Clean lane to the basket and misses, but her teammate there to clean up the mistake. Kendall Damon with a finish, and that trims it down to a 6-point edge with just over 10 to play here in Forest Lake. Blaine have been in front ever since going on that 13-2 run to close the first half. It was 29-28 Forest Lake. Flipped it to 41-31 Blaine just before the break. Timeout here called by Victoria Kimber and the Rangers. And Forest Lake continuing to kind of crumple a little bit here in this second half, like they did in the first. The Blaine pressure getting to them. It's the first time these two teams have played since the section quarterfinals 2 seasons ago. Blaine beat Forest Lake 49-43 in that game. They also beat the Rangers in the regular season that year. So Blaine, even though these two teams have not played in over 2 years, the Bengals have won the last 3 matchups, 5 of the last 6, and they've won each of the last 3 postseason meetings, which have all come in the section quarterfinals.
What a perfect time by our team to show us that flashback, the score being exactly what it is right now to finish out that matchup back a couple seasons ago.
Yeah, I think these two teams are playing a little bit of a faster pace than they did
yeah,
back in 2023, because we've got a 49-43 game and still 10 more minutes left to play. As Blythe, you pointed out, that was the final score when these two teams last tangled in 2024. Jansen and Alstrup playing catch with it out of the timeout. Worked around here, Rikucki too short on the 3, but an offensive rebound. Alstrup has it, 15 to shoot. Skipped along to Rikucki. Baseline, double team comes. Good kick out pass. Schloman, nothing but net, but scraped the bottom of the net for an offline miss. Still a 6-point lead for the Bengals. Kendall Damon along to Krutzig. Good read to strip the pass. Alexis Earhart can't finish on the easy 2. Missed the bunny. Schloman will work it back around. Blaine will settle in. Here's a try from 3. Too strong by Earhart. 9 minutes left to go. Tough try there by Holtman. And the track meet continues here in Forest Lake. Jansen, a hand in there for a Forest Lake foul. There's the great read by Alexis Earhart. They just picked the pocket of the Rangers, but missed the easy bunny underneath. And we've seen that a few times here in the half-life. The turnovers are continuing to be forced here with the Bengals, but they haven't always taken advantage on those looks around the basket for those points off of turnovers necessarily here in the second half. Here's Ritchie with a try on the inbound. It's good. Amelia Ritchie pops off for a triple to get her to 12 on the night. Blaine leads by 9.
Yeah, and that's her average per game, and so obviously, again, still 8:45 left in the second half.
Amelia Ritchie's gone beyond 20 in a game 4 times this season. That one another turnover here for Forest Lake. That's their 7th turnover of the second half The Rangers have 22 giveaways in this game. That is the Bengals game. They average better than 17 steals a night. Engelhoff in the corner, way offline. Ritchie the rebound. Ritchie will splash it in off the glass for 2.
And those second chance points that the Bengals are so good at, getting that second opportunity, and it comes up big time for them.
Damon short on the other end from beyond the arc. Rebound pulled down by Danny Berry. She's got 5 boards, 5 points tonight. Attacking the basket is Bree Cummings, and she's headed to the foul line here for Blaine. They will get Haley DeRue in the book, and now she's working with 4 fouls. Number 31 for Forest Lake. She'll stay in the game for now, but there is a player over at the scorers table waiting to check in. Cummings is 70% foul shooter on the season. She's the best free throw shooter the Bengals have, and they're on cue. DeRue will come off and sit with the 4 fouls, replaced by Savannah Pent. That's 1 Hamlin commit, replacing another for the Rangers. Cummings, it swirls out in the second.
And I asked Coach Walls who's been stepping up during the playoffs for them. He listed a few players, we'll get to them later, but one of those was Cummings, who obviously just headed to the free throw line for them.
Zarate, the 8th grader, able to stay composed under the basket and rifle it through. 11 points for Aaliyah Zarate. If you have the 8th grader as the leading scorer in your bingo card of the section final, you're probably the lone winner tonight. Not many did. And there's Bree Cummings on cue, stepping up in a big way, like Blythe you said here in the playoffs. 9 points for Cummings. And she's the 3rd leading scorer in the Bengals, who've had 2 get to double figures already tonight. It looked like for a moment Alstrup was going to come away with a steal, but that'll be a whistle and a foul instead on Amelia Ritchie. Yeah, reaching in from behind that led to the clean poke to Alstrup. Ritchie's second, inbound here to the Rangers. Ritchie has 14, Rikucki has 10. Rikucki hasn't scored so far here in the second half. That's Engelhoff with her arms up, trying to act like she didn't do anything. And Kendall Damon is the one headed to the line here for Forest Lake. 3rd on Engelhoff, the sophomore, wearing number 14.
Of course, Damon is shooting free throws out there. One of those 9 seniors on this Forest Lake squad, and Coach just saying how truly special this group of ladies has been this season. And of course, having 9 seniors committed to the program just speaks volume to their character and dedication.
Well, it feels like it's the Rangers' year if they're going to get back to the section final. We talked about it, 5 senior starters. And this is an experienced team. We've had a couple of 8th graders that have sprinkled into this game coming off the bench, but this is a senior squad with the 4 future college commits trying to win now. Bree Cummings has other ideas, knocks through her 3rd three-pointer of the section final. It's a dozen for Bree Cummings, and a timeout coming here for Forest Lake as Blaine have opened up their largest lead of the night at 14. Cummings is killing it here tonight. 6 points in the first half. To this point, 6 in the second. And her 3rd made three-pointer. And she's 1 shy of knocking down 40 triples on the season. Right now, the 39 still a team high for this Bengal team that can really fill it up from 3.
And I mean, Coach said it best. Coach Wall's just saying that she's been a spark for us, and we're seeing that here in these last few minutes, her being able to drop those three-pointers down and really start to bring this spread to a larger margin than what we've seen throughout most of this game.
That is the 11th game for Bree Cummings, reaching double figures this year. But Blythe, you were talking about it. Coach Wall saying she stepped it up lately. Now 5 of those 10 double-digit games have come in the last 8 for Cummings. She's averaging better than 11 points per game in that stretch. 12 tonight. And Cummings has scored in double figures now in all 3 games of the section playoffs. 12 points, 10 points, and 12 again in the last 3 respectively in the biggest time of year. There's a steal forced by Marley Jansen, and they'll say, what, an over and back? No, it was out of bounds off of the Rangers after they stole it back.
And you're seeing the hustle, of course. Marley Jansen has been said to have that hustle, but also she's just one of those players that's helped make Coach Wall's first year easy.
Everything's dropping for the Bengals. Maddie Berry, the bank's open, knocks down a 3-pointer. We said Blaine can hit from about anywhere. That's only Berry's 7th made 3 this year. It was not quite the angle she had lined up from the arc, but it counts all the same.
Yeah, you gotta like that, Matt. I think it's crazy too when you think about it. You said, hey, they can come from anywhere, but also it can come from anyone, and we've seen that so much throughout this game.
Kendall Damon drawing a foul in the meantime back on the other side. She's at the line. They're going to bring back in Haley Drew here to play with the 4 fouls. Savannah Pent, the other post, will come in replacing Jazzy Mata. So Forest Lake trying to get both their bigs back on the floor. Damon is the 2nd Ranger scorer to double figures here tonight after that 1-for-2 trip up at the foul line. And it just feels like it's your night when you get that kind of 3-pointer on a bank shot from like a 45-degree angle from your gritty rebounding post player who's not necessarily known for hitting those kind of shots. How about Richie there trying to save the play off the baseline? Blaine coughs it up. Still time left here in this one though, and the Bengals have to keep working hard to close it out. 6 minutes left to go. Damon has been effective at getting to the basket and getting to the charity stripe. She'll do it again here. And they're going to get, I believe, Marley Jansen to the book with the personal foul. No, they'll just say that went out of bounds. No foul issued. Inbound play here for the Rangers. They throw it away. It's Berry with the steal. Able to touch it along up to Richie. Jansen for 3. Too strong. And the rebound pulled down by Damon. I'll tell you what, Damon's had a heck of a second half here trying to keep Forest Lake in it. She'll draw another foul. She's taken a beating down there, the 5'10" senior forward.
Yeah, especially when you're sitting down here by this margin, you're going to want to earn it from the charity stripe when the clock is stopped, trying to save these seconds, these minutes, just a little over 5.5 left.
That's the second on Bree Cummings. It puts Forest Lake into the single bonus. So Damon able to knock down the all-important front end of the 1-and-1. 11 points now for Kendall Damon. The D2 commit headed to the South Dakota School of Mines next year. Misses on the second attempt. Berry trying to save it on the baseline, threw it away. This will stay with Forest Lake, deflecting off a Blaine player.
And I want to take a moment just to touch on head coach here for Forest Lake. Her dad, actually, Jody Liddell, had been the coach for 20 years earlier on in Forest Lake history.
That one blocked on the 3-point attempt by Aubrey Holtman. I couldn't find it anywhere. Is Victoria a Forest Lake alum then?
No, actually this was her section rival growing up, so it's been fun for her to see her former rival become her new home.
There's an attempt there, and Damon, we said, having a strong second half. That time she's going to be called for the offensive foul. Yeah, a little too physical there with the push off, maybe. You see it on Jansen. Damon picks up her 3rd. She's been slashing, though, and having a heck of a second half. That one deflected, nearly thrown away by Cummings. Damon has 7 of her 10 points here in the second half. 1 and done here for the Bengals. It remains a 13-point game. Foul and 1. Aubrey Holtman. That's going to get her to 11. Ritchie, not by any fault of her own, kind of caught the ankle from behind there. That's a tough third foul to pick up if you're the sophomore Amelia Ritchie. And Holtman with a chance at a line for a three-point play. Barry and Ritchie will sit. Alstrup's one of the two that just came in here for Blaine.
You're seeing Holtman with her leadership and playmaking ability, just a huge key to their success this season, but we've seen it in these last few minutes. Her stepping up too.
That's a dozen now for Holtman. Both teams are in the single bonus. Blaine have the possession arrow, as we'll see a timeout here, and that felt like a big swing, that three-point play from Holtman to get it back within a dozen. Blaine have led by as much as 14. We got some Spring Lake Park Panthers in the house as well, too. Taking in this game here in Section 7, 4A. Blaine, when they got that three from Bree Cummings, stretched out the lead to as much as 14. And the three-point shot, which wasn't much of a factor for Blaine, they had just 4 of them in the first half. They've come on here in the second half, led by Bree Cummings. Blake.
Yeah, she has really been impressive, being that spark. You've seen her find that flame to really start to light it up. And ultimately now, up by 12, the Bengals just trying to grit this one out here in these last few minutes. But there's still time for the Forest Lake Rangers. They're trying to come out of this timeout with just under 5 minutes to play, and really just gonna have to force some turnovers here from the Bengals, try to get that ball back or put some shots in on the free throw line.
Look, don't get me wrong, you would much rather be Blaine in this spot at this point in the game, but it is not in your DNA to try to slow the game down. So you've got to kind of walk that tightrope here as Rikucki misses. A loose ball is picked up here crucially by the Bengals. You've got to close this game out, but you've still got to stay in attack mode when the angles present itself. Rosie Rikucki, who led the Bengals with 10 points in the first half, scores for the first time in the second. Haley DeRue going up, and they're going to get Alexis Earhart in the book with the foul.
Yeah, like you said, though, Coach Walls prides his team identity being on attack, attack, attack. And like you said, they're not wasting any of this time on the clock, trying to hold it out.
Haley DeRue earning a trip to the line with that last sequence. That is DeRue's first point here of half number 2. Had 4 in the first on 2 of 4 shooting. Division III commit and a future Hamlin Piper. Hits them both up here at the line, and that's going to be a turnover. Maddie Berry says, my bad. And this will go right back here to the Rangers. Berry didn't get all the way out of bounds for that inbound. Good catch by our crew as Holtman can't finish around the 10. They get it up, streaking clean to the basket. Guess who? Bree Cummings continuing a big second half. 8 of her 14 since the break.
I like her composure, of course, running full steam ahead, but still making sure that one slides through.
Another deflection here for Blaine. DeRue fights through it. DeRue spins, lefty flip, it goes. Haley DeRue with 4 points in quick succession, trying to keep the Rangers hanging around, but still a 12-point lead. Cummings, heat check, you got it.
Cummings red hot here in the second half. We've seen her put so many three-pointers down and right on that same area here on the right side.
Cummings with her 4th made 3 tonight. 17 points for the 5'6" junior guard. They will whistle the play dead, and it's going to be an inbound play here. A foul before the shot, but with Forest Lake in the bonus, they're headed to the line here for a 1-and-1. That goes against Marley Jansen, and here's the 4th three-pointer of the night for Bree Cummings. As you said, Blythe, she's found her spot on the floor, and if she's anywhere with a sight line to basket from the right wing, she's got the green light to go.
Yeah, that's exactly what Coach said. Just pretty much a lot of these players on this team having that green light to hunt those threes. But I always like when you see a shooter just that confident. They've seen it go through. They're just ready to get that ball in their hands to give that ball another shot.
Aaliyah Zarate with that last trip to the line, and then a loose ball hung up in the corner just ahead of the Forest Lake student section. Blaine will get another try here at the inbound. Flip it out to Amelia Ritchie. 3 minutes left to play, and a 14-point lead for the Bengals. They'll play keep away here to start the possession. How about the behind-the-back dribble from Bree Cummings? I mean, do whatever you want. It is her night tonight for the junior. Jansen now with a rock for Blaine. Jansen nearly stripped. That's going to be Blaine basketball. Oh, a delay on the call from the officials, keeping everybody hanging. Blaine will have it here with 8 to shoot. So that, yeah, Jansen didn't, assuming Jansen didn't touch it on her way down into the first row, that's the right call. It stays here with Blaine. And now they're going to say she stepped out of bounds. They'll say Cummings steps out just ahead of Alex Walls. That's a turnover for Blaine. Still a 14-point lead, but 2:37 to go. Did she step out over the line? Ooh, maybe. I think she did just after that pivot foot. I think those are blue-colored lenses that Alex Walls is looking at from, I mean, literally right below him. I think she did just creep her tiptoe over the line there. Jazzy Mata off the right wing. Up top to Holtman for 3, too strong. Breaking the pressure here is Ritchie. That'll be a reaching foul on Holtman. Both teams are in the bonus. Blaine are now into the double bonus. So Ritchie is going to go up and shoot 2 regardless. That is Holtman's second personal foul here tonight. Heck of a game here for Amelia Ritchie. 14 in the section final. Bested only by her junior teammate Bree Cummings. The sophomore up there able to knock it through. Everybody was coming off the line. That's 10 fouls. This is, oh, I beg your pardon. This is still single bonus. Yeah, 8 fouls for the Rangers. So that was a 1-and-1. Ritchie hits it, and that's through the second. A sweet 16 for Amelia Ritchie here tonight. Full timeout taken by Victoria Kimber. Well, Blythe, I mean, we're getting down the stretch. It is not a done deal for Blaine, but they are in excellent position here with a 16-point lead. Just over 2 minutes left to play, and Blaine have just done a great job of wreaking that havoc that they want to with the full court pressure all night. It wasn't necessarily leading to points early in the second half like it did late in the first, but they've just kept chipping away, and they have just overwhelmed Forest Lake with their full court pressure here tonight.
Yeah, the Bengals coming into today, but as well as the season, they have their key 4 statistical categories that they're looking at. It's effective field goal, turnovers, offensive rebounds, and free throws. So, of course, those were the areas that they were honing in on today, as well as throughout this season, to have the success they've had.
Blaine looking for win number 21 on the season. They've got 10 wins at home, 10 wins on the road this year. Forest Lake are 22-6, the top seed in the section. But as we talked about, they did not see this up and down full court pressure kind of pace that Blaine brings in the regular season. With Forest Lake out of the Suburban East and Blaine out of the Northwest Suburban Conference, these two teams did not match up in the non-con in the regular season. Forest Lake 9-3 in their home gym this year. And getting up a big block there, Ellie Beckman denying Holtman. Loose ball on the floor, and the word of the day is jump ball. This one will benefit the Blaine Bengals. Inside 2 to play. Blaine have not been to state in 17 years. Their last trip to state came in 2009. They've been to 2 other section finals since going to state that year. They were led by Chris Bruce Stewin to a section final 2 years ago, make that 3 years ago, where they lost to Centennial at North Branch. And that was Blaine's first appearance in a section final in 8 years. They also lost to Andover back in 2015. On the cusp here with 90 seconds to go and a big lead. Forest Lake's gonna back off here. Amelia Ritchie. Dribble drive inside, loses it, throws it away into her own bench, a Blaine turnover. It shouldn't make a difference, but you don't want to turn in possessions like that here in a section final, no matter how big the lead is down the stretch. A sophomore who has so often not looked like a sophomore out there. Bit of an underclassman gaffe. And here comes Holtman. Knocked away by Berry. Touched along here for the Bengals. Cummings with a pass up ahead. Ritchie fouled hard on her way to the basket by Ilea Zarate. Zarate is going to pick up her second personal foul. Ritchie's shaken up. And when she gets up, she's going to go to the line here to shoot 1 and 1. How about Alex Walls? His 7th season working at Blaine High School as a math teacher, but his first year as the varsity head coach here on the girls' side. There's Ritchie going down hard here. She's made her way up to the line and will shoot 2 here. We talked about how Victoria Kimber is not a Forest Lake alum.
Cambridge Isanti, if that answers your question. I know, yeah, I was saying.
Alex Walls is not a Blaine alum, but his wife Angela graduated from Blaine back in the class of 2015, and she also teaches in the school district.
Yeah, Coach Walls saying about 4 years ago when he started applying for head coaching jobs, because he fully believed this was his purpose. Of course, this season really solidifying that.
Damon short on the 3. Well, in year number 1, he's going to take the Blaine girls program to their first trip to Williams Arena in 17 years. That wall of navy and baby blue across from us are ready to start partying here in Forest Lake. At about 58 seconds of game action, Forest Lake, as you do in the section final, you gotta keep all hope alive. They're gonna foul here down the stretch and send Marley Jansen, one of the senior captains, to the line here for Blaine. 69% foul shooter in the year. So often as we talk about, I mean, a different player can step up and be a star for Blaine on any given night. Jansen doing her usual hard work defensively, but she's got 2 points tonight. The second leading scorer for the Bengals. They truly come at you with 2 lines and roll 10 deep. And whoever's open that night, whoever's working the hardest that night, they're going to be rewarded on the score sheet. Tonight, that's been Amelia Ritchie with 17, 8 from Natty Berry, 17 from Bree Cummings, the junior, and Cummings the one with the steal there. Up ahead to Ritchie. She loses it on the dribble, nearly thrown back away here by Forest Lake. 40 seconds to go as Kendall Damon, in her final game as a Ranger, rolls that through for a deuce. 74-58. Damon's got 13, and a timeout taken here by Victoria Kimber and the Rangers.
I think what's really cool here about Walls, first we'll look at the Rangers here, sliding one in, trying to get as close as they can here in these last moments. But Coach Walls just saying part of the purpose, or his purpose, saying that he wanted to be a head coach, but he truly believed that he could produce a culture of joy and connectiveness while also producing winning basketball. And I think when we're watching the Bengals play, you've seen a lot of joy, especially here in these last few moments. You're seeing them starting to maybe understand what's to come for them after this matchup. But also, just throughout this game, you've seen them high-fiving each other, showing that joy throughout this whole time. And also, how many wins they found this season while being able to play this type of basketball.
Blaine Davy with one last inbound here. Jansen tries to get it along here to the junior Cummings. Deflected out of bounds here by Forest Lake. 36 seconds left to go. The Blaine fans across from us about to pop off here in the Ranger Gym. Jansen, the senior, barking out orders underneath the basket, keeping everybody organized. Here's Blaine tries to close this one out clean. I mean, even in a situation where you've got a big lead here and we're going to see another timeout taken. Remember the way that Blaine finished the game on Saturday at Centennial. They had a 19-point lead at one point in the second half. They didn't make a field goal for the final 6 minutes plus. Amelia Ritchie had to hit a free throw down the stretch to hang on in a 63-60 win. So you're trying to, at this point, even just simulate a close game and give your team some experience closing out a tight game down the stretch, because Blaine are going to see some good teams coming up in the state tournament. If they've got Bree Cummings, though, shooting like this at the barn next week, they could be playing a long time next week at the state tournament.
Yeah, you say that, but we've seen so many players here on this Bengal squad drop the tray, but Bree Cummings tonight has been lights out, putting it down from downtown time and time again.
17 points tonight, a season high for Cummings. Trying to answer with a three on the other end is Holtman, and she has led the way along with 17 from Amelia Ritchie. 18 seconds left to go here in the section final. Third foul picked up by Zarate. And this has got to be fun if you're a Blaine Bengal. I mean, in the stands and on the court. So many fouls, so many stoppages. The girls on the floor just get to listen to their fans just continue to grow in excitement here. Ready to burst onto the floor here for a celebration.
And I think a lot of times, too, teams that think about just that next game, just trying to get to one more, not thinking of, hey, we want to win state. Hey, you just want to make it to that next game. And when you keep that mentality, it makes it easier to compartmentalize what you got to get done and stay present in the game. But that's something that Coach Walls had said that they have always been looking at. What is that next game? How do you get to that next one?
Maddie Berry, who's played a heck of a game with 8 points and 5 boards, will come back on to see this one out here for the Bengals. Last try for three, short by Holtman. And a second chance opportunity not through here for Forest Lake, but it won't matter. The Blaine Bengals are headed back to the state tournament for the first time in 17 years. Alex Walls taking over on the Bengal bench, and Blaine are headed back to the state tournament for the 7th time in school history. They knock off the top seed Forest Lake 75-60 here in the Section 7 4A final.
Yeah, Matt, it has been an incredible game, both sides. Of course, all of these ladies who stepped out on the court gave it their all tonight, but you saw the Bengals getting to their identity, playing fast, playing fearless, and really being in attack mode throughout the entire game.
We've got more to come here on the campus of Forest Lake High School. The presentation of both the section runner-up and section championship trophies, plus Blythe Whaley's going to make her way down on the floor to chat with a few of the Bengals. They're headed to the state tournament for the first time since 2009. 75-60 your final score over Forest Lake. We're back with the award ceremony and the post game next on North Metro TV. Back here in the Ranger Gym, Bengals led by as much as 19 in this one, and they lead wire to wire here in the second half. They are marching on to the state tournament for the 7th time in school history. We'll send it down to the public address announcer for tonight's runner-up and section championship awards.
Number 5, Kendall David. Number 10, Eileen Zarate. Number 11, Aubrey Holtman. Number 12, Jackie Mata. Number 14, Nora Johnson. Number 20, Hannah Henry. Number 21, Natalie Krutze. Number 22, Sydney Hess. Number 23, Sadie Fury. Number 24, Gabby Dardis. Number 25 is Zonner. Number 31, Haley DeRue. Number 32, Morgan Fife. Number 33, Maddie Fratsky. Number 44, Natalie Ferrier. Your managers, Addison Sarafwell. Aubrey Monzel. And your Ranger coaches, Renee Holmquist. Andrea Frischke. And your Ranger head coach, Victoria Kimber. And now, Ranger captains, come out and receive your Section 7 runner-up trophy. And again, congratulations to the Rangers. Great season. Now representing Section 7 4A after the Minnesota State High School League State Tournament. Number 1, Harvey Jansen. Number 2, Alyssa Schloman. Number 3, Eliza Weir. Number 4, Amelia Ritchie. Number 5, Nora Kuhn. Number 10, Rosie Burkuski. Number 11, Mariana Price. Number 12, Liz Beckett. Number 14, Ellie Engelhoff. Number 15, Maddie Berry. Number 20, Ellie Beckman. Number 21, Caden Allsprout. Number 22, Alexis Earhart. Number 23, Bree Cummings. Number 24, Amy Wokat. Number 32, Mia Huber. Number 34, Alexa Kane. And number 44, Ellie Johnson. The Bengals managers, Maddie Lawrence. Natalie Mata. Marissa Brenneman. And Kenya Cooper. Bengals coaches, McKenna Rumlin. Nick Rusin. And head coach of the Bengals, Alex Walsh. And we invite the captains for the Bengals to come out and get their Section 7 championship trophy. Again, we want to congratulate both teams. Great season to the young. Best of luck to the Bengals as they head on to the Minnesota State High School League State Basketball Tournament next week. Again, on behalf of Forest Lake High School, thanks to everyone who came tonight. The Bengals fans, thanks for joining us here tonight. Please do have a safe ride home this evening.
Blaine are Section 7 4A champions and headed to the state tournament, which starts next week, Wednesday at Williams Arena. Blythe Whaley is down courtside. We're back with the post-game interviews coming up next on North Metro TV.
North Metro Television. North Metro TV is the public access television production studio that serves the northern suburbs of Blaine, Centerville, Circle Pines, Ham Lake, Lexington, Vinyl Lakes, and Spring Lake Park. In addition to teaching the general public how to produce their own programs, NMTV has a production staff dedicated to covering local news and sports, special events.
They are cutting down the nets here in Forest Lake. Blaine headed back to the state tournament for the first time in 17 years.
Test one,
and what a year here for head coach Alex Wall's first year taking the varsity head coaching job, 6 years as an assistant in the program, and his first year stepping into the varsity job. And the Bengals are headed back to the state tournament for the 7th time in school history. Well, some great moments here, and just a great team, a good mix of underclassmen, of seniors. Marley Jansen, Rosie Rikucki, Nadi Berry, all seniors on the squad, along with Ellie Beckman. They're going to get a trip to Williams Arena on their resume here before their career is through at Blaine High School. Well, the state tournament starts next week. I love the girls tournament because you can theoretically go to one location and see not every moment of every game, but between the Maturi Pavilion and Williams Arena, every game of the girls tournament happens there. They don't split it between there and Target Field, and it is a fantastic week of basketball. You see what it means for the Blaine parents of Brianna Cummings. She's sure to be in the pack of post-game interviews that Blythe Whaley will be flagging down here in moments. And the 4A tournament will be at the barn in its entirety. Quarterfinal times in Class 4A on Wednesday. It could be either at 10 a.m., at noon, 2 p.m., or 4 p.m. And we will kind of await to see the rest of the sections as they wrap up around the state and see who the opponent for the Blaine Bengals will be coming up at the 4A state tournament. I mean, there's going to be a ton of really good teams in the mix. You look across the state, and entering play today, the top 12 teams in the state by the QRF were all still alive. Blaine just knocked off number 12 ranked Forest Lake here in the section final, but Hopkins, Rosemount, Wayzata, some of the favorites in their respective sections that all expect to get to state. Maple Grove are the team that are going to be going through out of 5 4A. And I mean, just some absolute heavyweights that are going through to the state tournament this year in the girls' Class 4A field. Still some other games going on around the state. And we'll see who Blaine might match up with in that first round. But you think, just kind of reading the tea leaves of what else is happening in girls high school basketball, that Blaine are probably going to be one of the underdogs as a 7 or 8 seed going into that section, or that state tournament rather, that is coming up next week at Williams Arena. One of the great traditions of basketball, you win the tourney, you go up and cut down the nets. And Blaine are doing it. A little bit extra sting here for the Forest Lake Rangers. You lose in the section final on your home floor, and it means that the other team that you just fell to a win away from state are cutting down your nets in your gym. And we should shout out really a terrific year for Forest Lake. Victoria Kimber, the Section 7 4A Coach of the Year, nearly leading the Rangers to their first state tournament in her stead. Blythe Whaley is chatting with some of the standouts for the Bengals. They're headed to state next week in Minneapolis.
Alongside Amelia Ritchie and Bree Cummings, a couple of Bengals that helped their team punch the ticket to the state tournament. We're going to start with you, Amelia. You scored 17 points tonight. You're the team leading scorer throughout the season. But what about tonight was really helping your offense get going?
I feel like the intensity that we had, the connection we've had with each other throughout the season, that really helped lead us to tonight and to get this win.
And your coach talks about your defense being suffocating. Can you talk about what's going through your head when you're on defense searching to find that loose ball?
Honestly, I'm just thinking, don't go for every single steal that I have, because sometimes they might fake and blow past me. And if they do, just sprint back, and I know that my teammates have my back if I do get beat.
And also something that you do so well, we saw you head to the line. You lead your team in free throw attempts. Can you talk about what that's like going into contact, knowing that hopefully you'll be heading to the line?
Honestly, I used to fade away a lot, so now I really just go strong, and hopefully I get the foul. If I don't, I'll get back on defense, but usually I always go in. I wait for the right time, especially when they bend, and I just go into my defender.
Yeah, my last question I have for you is I'm curious on when that turning point felt like for you throughout this game. Of course, in the first half, we saw that game go back and forth. You got the 10-point spread at halftime, but when did you really start to feel like you guys were going to pull this one off?
Once we hit this 7-minute mark, I really feel that we were on a roll. We were on a roll defensively, offensively, even on the bench. We had the energy, and we knew we were going to get this one tonight.
Well, great job tonight. You're just a sophomore, but leading the team in scoring. Way to go this season.
Thank you.
And of course, Bree Cummings, we have to talk with you. You put in so many three-pointers tonight. We've been able to see the offensive scoring come from so many players on your team this season, but to be able to do it in the section championship game, how were you able to get this done tonight?
I just pregame talk to myself, and I tell myself that I can do this, I have confidence, and the ball's going in the hoop.
So do you look in the mirror, or are you just playing that in your head as you're going through warm-ups? How do you do it?
During the national anthem, I just tell myself that I got this, and I am a shooter, and I'm kind of better than everyone else, so I can have confidence for that.
Yeah, no, it does help, that self-talk,
yeah.
So I'm glad you mentioned that. And also, when you're stepping out there on the court, you've been able to get your hands in there, find some of those steals. How important was that tonight for you to be able to help solidify this one?
It was really important because our team really needed our defense tonight, and I felt like we all had the energy, and we communicated, and we got those steals.
And my last question for you would be, of course, your team making it to the state tournament for the first time in 17 years. Has that sunk in yet? And what feelings are coming up when you know that?
Yeah, I think towards the end when they started fouling us, and I just looked to my team, and they were all smiling, and I was like, we did it. Like, we finally made it to the state championship, and I'm just so happy and proud of our team.
As you should be. A big accomplishment here for Blaine High School, but for you specifically to be able to have this type of performance in the championship is really special. Way to go tonight.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it. We've heard from a couple of those Bengals headed to the state tournament, but Matt, lots more to come for them.
Thank you, Blythe. Terrific year for the Blaine Bengals. They go to 21-8. They're headed to the state tournament coming up this Wednesday in Minneapolis at the Barn. Blaine playing at the state tournament next week. They defeat the Forest Lake Rangers here tonight. Congratulations to Coach Walls, his entire staff, which includes Nick Russin and McKenna Rollins. And we want to get some insight from the head coach of the Bengals, Alex Walls. Blythe Whaley chatting with the first-year Bengal head coach leading Blaine back to the state tournament.
Standing alongside head coach Alex Walls and his Bengals squad as they learn that they're heading to the state tournament after 17 years. Has this sunk in here in your first year as head coach?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like a daily thing. I'm so incredibly proud of them. Man, I'm kind of out of words. I haven't really took this in yet. Just having all my friends and family here watch like great basketball, it's really awesome. It's really fun.
And I think about what you've told me throughout the couple games that we've been able to cover is that you pride your team on having the identity of fast and fearless and always in attack mode. Do you think that this is the keys to success for your team throughout this playoff?
There's something about being fearless, right? Like, being fearless, there's nothing to lose, go and have fun. We tell them basketball's a game. It's a game we get to play with your friends. You'll talk about these memories for the rest of your life. Just go and have fun. And being fearless, man, it's going to dictate our pace. It's going to get us turnovers on defense. God, it's so fun to watch. It's fun to watch.
And Alex, it sounds like you're losing your voice. Were you losing your voice before this game, or did this happen during this championship?
I think I'm just dehydrated. Like, it's probably during the game. The crowd was amazing. Shout out to all the Blaine family that came. Oh, man. Truly amazing. Truly awesome.
And also, I want to touch on, of course, you being a math teacher. I think it's interesting. You have 4 factors that you look at throughout the season. And does that have to do with you being a math teacher? You're looking at all those numbers?
Yeah, I mean, numbers are something that drives everything, right? It's not everything, but there still should be something that ties into it. I mean, you look at ours where we want to get to. It's just like a model that we can eventually get to one day. And I show the girls, it probably goes over their head, but like we're just striving to get better, and that's kind of how we measure ourselves. So, yeah.
And when you talk about this game specifically, was there a moment throughout this game that you felt was a turning point for your team to be able to win it?
I mean, Natty Berry banking in a three-pointer is just, I couldn't imagine. We always say if Natty makes a three-pointer, we're going to win any game. So, like, the fact that she did, she's the heart and soul of our team. It's just, she's going to be missed for us, for sure.
Well, there you have it. Senior Natty Berry putting down a three-pointer, and of course, that's what they classify as going to happen when they're going to win. But thanks so much for talking with us. Coach Alex Walls, his first season as head coach, but taking the Blaine Bengals to the state tournament after 17 years. Thanks again, Alex.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Appreciate it.
That'll do it for us here at Forest Lake High School. Shout out to our great crew on North Metro TV, directed by Kenton Kipp in the truck. From my broadcast partner, Blythe Whaley, I'm Matt Dean, signing out here from the section final. Blaine headed to the state tournament after knocking off top seed Forest Lake by a final score of 75-60. This has been Blaine Hoops on North Metro TV.